students, this is Coach Holliday, and today we're looking at our third lesson on writing the equation of a line. Today we're calling it writing the equation of a line with a vengeance. So if you go ahead and take your notes out and follow along as we go through this. If you have any questions, you can rewind and rewatch any parts of this video as you go through. So let's go ahead and get started. Let's first recall that if you don't have to write the equation of a line, when you don't have the slope and the y-intercept, there's a procedure you can go through. Again, remember, the first thing is you have to have a point on the line. The second thing is you have to have the slope of the line. Then you'll take the point that you have and the slope, and you'll substitute it into y equals mx plus b, and you'll solve for b, which is that y-intercept. And then after you've done that, you'll write the equation in y equals mx plus b form, where you'll insert the slope where the m is and the y-intercept where the b is. Okay? And then remember, there's other things you might have to do with this. You might have to actually find the slope. Remember, to find the slope, you have to have 2 points and some other things like that. So let's go ahead and get started on the first example. Again, this should basically be a review for you because you've done these same types of problems in the last 2 lessons. Alright, example 1. We want to write the equation of each line in slope-intercept form. So remember, the first thing you're going to do is when you see that, you're going to write y equals mx plus b. And note that you have to have the m and the b in the final equation. Okay? So let's go through our little chart down here and see what we have. First thing, it says you have to have a point on the line. So I do have a point on the line. The second thing, it says you have to have the slope. I do have the slope. Alright, so now we're going to substitute what we have into y equals mx plus b and solve for b. Okay, so we'll write y equals mx plus b. Now I have the slope as negative 1/2, so I'm going to put that in for m. Alright, and then I have this point, which is an x and a y, so I'm going to substitute the x in, negative 4n for x, plus b because I don't have the b, and y, 1n for y. And then I'm just going to solve this equation to find what my b is. So I have 1 equals negative 1/2 times negative 4 is just positive 2. 1/2 of 4 is 2 plus b. Then I'll solve this for b by subtracting 2 from both sides, and that gives me negative 1 equals b. So now I have my slope and my y-intercept, so I'm going to do the last step and substitute those in for n and b. So I have y equals negative 1/2 x plus b, or my b is negative 1, so I'll make it minus 1, or you could put plus a negative 1. And there is our equation that represents this situation. Alright, let's move on to example 2. Alright, in our second equation here, let's go through our steps. First, we have to have a point on the line, and I do have a point on the line. It goes through negative 2, 8, so that's our x and our y. And then it says we have to have the slope. Well, I don't have the slope of the line, but it tells me that the line is horizontal. And if you remember, any horizontal line has a slope of 0. Hopefully you remembered that. Okay? So when I plug that into y equals mx plus b, I'm going to put 0 in for m, I'm going to put my negative 2 in for x, and my 8 for y. So it's going to be 8 equals 0 times my negative 2 plus b, and I'll solve for b. Well, 0 times negative 2 is just 0, and 0 plus b is just b. So b is 8. So I have my b now, so I'm going to plug the m, so let's have the b, I have the m, I'm going to plug those into my equation. So y equals m is 0, 0x, my b is 8. Now 0 times x is just 0, and 0 plus 8 is just 8. So my equation is actually just y equals 8. If you remember, that looks like the equations we had earlier on in our last unit when we had horizontal lines, just y equals a number. Okay? Hopefully that made sense to you. Let's move on to our third example, which is going to be pretty similar to one of the problems you worked in the last lesson. Now in this example, we want to find the equation of the line in slope-intercept form. Remember, y equals mx plus b, that passes through 3, 6 and negative 3, 2. So our first step is, do we have a point on the line? Yes, I actually have a couple of points on the line. So again, we have the 2 points that are on the line. We have 3, 6 and negative 3, 2. So we have that part. Now to have the slope, well, we're not given the slope in the problem, but if you remember again, to find slope, we do delta y over delta x, and to be able to do that I have to have 2 y's, 2 x's, or 2 points. And I do have 2 points, so we'll go ahead and find that slope. Remember the formula, y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. You don't really need to remember that formula, just remember to subtract the y's over subtract the x's. So I'll do 6 minus 2. I'm going to do the first one minus the second one this time. So if I do 6 minus 2, I have to do 3 minus a negative 3, like that. 6 minus 2 is 4. 3 minus a negative 3, that turns actually plus a positive, so that's going to be 6, so which 4 over 6 reduces to 2 over 3. So I have my slope now, and I have my point. So remember, now we'll substitute into y equals mx plus b. And it doesn't matter which point we're going to substitute in there. I'm just going to use the first one. We have our x and our y. So I'm going to put 6 in for y equals 2/3 times our x is 3 plus b. So 6 is our y, 2/3 is our m, 3 is our x. And then I'm going to solve this for b. So I get 6 equals 2/3 times 3 is 6/3, which reduces to 2. So 2 plus b, and then I'll subtract 2 from both sides to make that 0 pair, and I get 4 equals b. So now I have my b is 4, my slope is 2/3, so I can do my last step, which is to write my equation with the m and the b in place. So y equals, my m is 2/3 x plus b, and b is 4, so I'm going to substitute that in and get my equation. I can do a quick check on this. If I plug in 2 and negative 3 in here, it'll work out. If I plug in, let's see, the 2 for y and 2/3 times negative 3 plus 4. 2/3 times negative 3 is negative 2 plus 4. So that gives me 2 equals 2. So that worked. So this point worked also. So I'm very confident that this is the right equation. Okay? And hopefully you remembered how to do that when we did one like that in the last lesson. Alright, we got one more example. In this example, we want to write the equation in slope-intercept form. Again, y equals mx plus b. We have a vertical line through the point negative 8, 2. Okay, so we have to have a point on the line. There's our point on the line. Now the slope, it don't tell you the slope, but I know that it's a vertical line, so the slope is undefined, if you remember, with a vertical line. Remember, this is a special equation, and I'm going to draw a little picture here to help us remember this. So there's my coordinate plane, and my line goes through negative 8, positive 2. So that's negative 8, positive 2, and we know it's a vertical line on that. Now, any point on this line, if you remember, has the same x coordinate of negative 8. So what we say about this one is, with that undefined line, I can't really write the equation because it doesn't have a y-intercept either. We just write this as a special case. A vertical line is a special case. The equation is always going to be x equals and whatever the x is for each of the points, which is negative 8. So that is what our equation is for this one, little special one, because we have this vertical line. Okay? Alright, so hopefully that didn't trick you too much. Go ahead, complete the whisk, and submit. Make sure you submit that before you get to class, and we'll see you then. Have a great day.